Welcome to Discover DeSoto, a podcast brought to you by the Patterson Foundation. In this podcast, you'll hear stories from all corners of DeSoto County through the lens of DeSoto County Ahead, from residents to community leaders and everyone in between. Join us as we discover DeSoto, one story at a time. Hi, you're listening to Discover DeSoto, a Beyond the Blog podcast brought to you by the Patterson Foundation. I'm Alicia Exantus, Community Engagement Specialist, and with me today is Asha Campbell, tax professional, business consultant, and CEO of the nonprofit JRpreneur Brunch, here to dive into more about the impact she is making in DeSoto County through the lens of DeSoto County Ahead. Asha, welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
We're so excited to have you here. Okay, let's start from the beginning. How long have you lived in DeSoto County, and what brought you there?
So I have been in DeSoto County since I was 5. I took a hiatus for a couple years here and there, but overall, I say I've been in DeSoto about 35 years, 30, yeah.
So tell me this, in your eyes, what makes DeSoto special?
It's the small town, the close-knit, family-oriented. The atmosphere is really what does it for me, and it's an ideal place where you can raise your family without all the background noise and the craziness of the world.
I want to talk about your involvement in the DeSoto community, as well as your involvement across different initiatives at the Patterson Foundation. But first, let's start with your nonprofit. I'd like to hear you say the name and what inspired you to start it, and when did you start it?
All right, so I founded the JRpreneur Brunch, and the idea came in 2022, and I brought it to fruition in 2023.
Okay.
I started it because I feel like I was in my 30s before I really learned the meaning of entrepreneurship, the different trade and career paths that you can take. I didn't know anything about an engineer until I started working for the state of Florida. And I'm like, oh, well, I can go for that degree because I had never heard it. Nobody had ever talked about it. And going throughout, I was like, you know what? These are conversations we should be having. I shouldn't be in my 30s finding out what an engineer is, what an engineer can do, and the different levels of engineers. So I created the JRpreneur Brunch so that I can start educating the youth in DeSoto about the financial space, financial literacy, taxes, how to start a business, what steps you need to take, how to build business credit so we're not using our own money and exalting those resources that we have. So it was just a deep passion, and I put a date on it, and I made it happen.
I love it. I love it. Here at the Patterson Foundation, one of our values is about weaving initiatives to promote the well-being of our region. So this podcast is through the lens of DeSoto County Ahead initiative, but I'd like to back it up a little bit and talk about Aspirations to Action. Aspirations to Action initially in 2022 went into DeSoto County and had community conversations with over 400 people. Out of those community conversations came 8 themes. So I'm hearing you say the why behind your nonprofit, and I see on these themes that relate with that why. So I love that we've heard the community say things, and then you are one of those action pieces to what we're hearing about aspirations driving change. I'm going to point out specifically the 3rd theme here behind me, nonprofit, business, resident, and economic opportunities to support DeSoto County. Specifically, when you look at our themes, there will be some bullet points, and I'm going to link it here and I'm going to show it to our viewers. But it says, frequently bring the community together for a variety of aspirational events. I think of your nonprofit with that. And leaders in the community connecting with youth to elevate resources, connect, and collaborate. The resources you're bringing, talking about taxes, talking about how to start a business, they're not learning that in the high school classes. And those are real life skills that can take kids in DeSoto to the next level. So we've heard the call for things like your organization in DeSoto. Tell me, how has DeSoto reacted to your nonprofit?
So the first JRpreneur Brunch, we had over 35 kids come in attendance with their parents.
Okay.
So that was exciting because at the end of the brunch, I wanted a segment where I can specifically talk to parents to give them additional resources that they can utilize to help their kids start that business, start that dream, or whatever it is, and not have to come up with so much money themselves to fund that dream. And so through doing that, it has been an unbelievable feeling, just knowing the impact that I made, and seeing the kids when they see me in public, they come out and they're like, "Hey, Miss Asha," and it feels awkward because I'm like, "Miss Asha," but
I love that.
Nevertheless, they, just seeing them like thriving and doing things, and then they're asking questions, and I'm like, I'm not holding anything back, and this is all free, and I'm so passionate about it. I did it completely out of my own pocket.
Wow.
Because it was just, I felt it needed to happen.
How many brunches do you have yearly?
So I held the first brunch in 2023. I held one brunch in 2024. 2025, the goal is to start them quarterly.
Great. Okay, awesome. And then do you have other times throughout the year that you meet with them, or is it strictly at the brunch?
So in-person events is strictly at the brunch, but I do host virtual events as well, where I'm teaching other skills and trainings.
That's amazing. All right. Like you, the Patterson Foundation has also been working in various ways in DeSoto County to engage the community in addressing issues, developing innovative and collaborative partnerships, and leveraging the power of collective abundance for meaningful change. Several TPF initiatives are active in DeSoto, such as the Suncoast Campaign for Grade Level Reading, also known as SCGLR. This year, you participated in 2 Suncoast Remake Learning events, and you hosted those specifically in DeSoto County, but I know one was virtual, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so you like to offer that virtual and in person.
I don't want to close off the opportunity just to DeSoto. Like, if there is a kid, I don't care if they're in California, like, if the information can be used and given, let's give them all that opportunity. So virtual works.
Okay, so let's keep weaving through initiatives here. Let's talk a little bit more about SCGLR and that Suncoast Remake Learning Day experience. At TPF, the Patterson Foundation undertakes philanthropic work in ways others are not doing, cannot do, or will not do. So how do you think Suncoast Remake Learning Days are a demonstration of this key value for TPF?
So I would say it expands the horizon as far as the reach, your community reach, because of the connection that the Suncoast Remake Learning Initiative has throughout the Suncoast region. So it definitely has brought me families that otherwise I probably would have never tapped into through this event, because they found my event via the book, via the website, and it was an awesome feeling to see one of those families who showed up at the virtual event come in person, and I actually met them. So I was like, it was an aha moment for me. Like, you're doing what you're doing for a reason.
It's the ripple effects, right?
Yes.
It is all about spreading that through the community. I want to talk about specifically learn to build chatbots. I don't know much about that, but I know it was one of the events that you hosted. I'd love to hear more. I know the themes were mental health, technology, communication. Fill me in. What happened at that event?
So that event was an awesome event. The kids came in with their parents, eager and ready to learn. And so in doing so, the idea was to expose the kids to AI, teaching them how to build the AI chatbots, and getting them to understand that we're using AI one way, shape, form, or another. And I know sometimes parents are like, I don't want my kids learning AI. We're not doing this. But it's everywhere. And so to show families that they can engage together in a safe manner and how AI can be beneficial, even when it comes to building, we built a family vacation going to Disney together, just to show the families like, hey, we can put our budget in and they can actually plan everything, and AI is going to tell them everything they need to pack for that trip, things they can do on that trip that are cost effective. And through doing so, we built a chatbot. And it was our vacation planning chatbot. So it was exciting. The kids really indulged, really enjoyed. And at the end, they was like, hey, can we build a character? I'm like, absolutely, let's do it. So all the kids pitched in with some type of characteristic, and we built a exotic fish species that had 35 eyes and spikes on his back, and he was down deep in the dark ocean with a light. And this is how extensive their details were. And I didn't want to put a cap on how far they could go. I'm like, no, keep going. Anybody else? And so when the picture came to life, they was like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, do you see? And then from there, they were like, they just went to working and doing different things. But the moment for me was the engagement from the kids, the family, the questions. And it let me know everything that I was doing for a purpose, and it was coming to life.
Oh, awesome. We're going to go ahead and keep weaving through these initiatives. So we do have an initiative here at the Patterson Foundation called Digital Access for All. And it is all about those barriers and the access available to everyone in regards to technology. And that's what I'm hearing from you. Not only were the kids excited, but the parents are engaged as well. And you're right, AI is everywhere. It's coming whether we want it or not.
It's here.
It's here. It is here. Digital Access for All does have a LinkedIn group specifically speaking about different parts of technology in our communities. I know AI has been talked about throughout the group, and it's a place where adults can come, discuss things that are happening in the Digital Access for All world, and leave comments and even inspire others. I think it would be awesome to have you post about your fancy fish that you guys created.
Yes, I would do that. I have that fish saved to the computer because I was going to put some content out, but like a highlight of that moment because they were proud of that fish.
Okay. We've done a lot of weaving. I'd like to go back to the DeSoto County Ahead initiative. It is no surprise to hear that you were nominated or your name was written down to be asked to join the Public Innovators Lab. That occurred in January. January of 2025. What did you think when you saw that pop up in your email?
So when I seen it pop up, funny story, I was like, what is this? When did I sign up? Because I'm always looking to further educate myself and put myself in places and positions to move the initiative forward when it comes to the JRpreneur Brunch and making an impact in DeSoto. And so when I seen it, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to that. I thought of every excuse not to go. Then I got sick and I was like, I'm not going. And I told my husband, I was like, I'm not going to that event. I don't know what it is. I don't know how I signed up for this. And then I prayed on it and God said, go, move. And I'm glad I did because it was a life-changing experience. I made great connections. And when I jumped on that Zoom call, I was like, oh, this is exactly where I needed to be.
For those who do not know what the Public Innovators Lab is, community leaders came together for 2 days. This lab was facilitated by Rich Harwood, his team, and the event fostered collaboration, strengthened connections among local change makers, and sparked innovative ideas to drive community progress. I love that you brought up the Zoom before. It was a great way to see everyone and kind of get an idea of what we were getting into before we showed up in person. Yes. Okay, so you walk in knowing this is what I want to do. I have a good feeling about it. And then 2 days later, you walk out. How did you feel then compared to when you walked in?
Oh, man. So walking in, I was nervous because I didn't really know what to expect. This is all new to me. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to move through. We're going to make it happen. It is what it is. And so being there, I learned so much, and I learned to think differently. The conversations flow differently when you start to get the proper tools and resources to really start to make a change and make that impact. And I'll say that the connections that I made in the youth community were unbelievable because the breakout session from the Zoom, I was broken out in a room with a rep from the YMCA.
Okay.
Never knew nothing about the Y or anything coming at that moment. And so that conversation turned into a couple of meetings and me joining the YMCA as their program coordinator. And I was just like, this is unbelievable. You know, God works in mysterious ways. And I think everything that we do was aligned and I was supposed to be there, although I thought of every excuse not to.
I'm so happy you attended. I know immediately a lot of my colleagues were like, you've got to speak with Asha. She is awesome. She's so involved in the community, specifically with the youth. We're going to talk a little bit more about the youth because 4 action teams have been created since we left the Public Innovators Lab, those 2 full days all together. I know we have 4 teams: health, housing, youth, and then faith-based. Are you on the youth team, Asha?
I am.
Okay, perfect. I was not 100% sure. I'm on the housing team, so I love knowing now that you are on the youth team.
I am on the youth.
Tell me how that's been going, because I know we're supposed to be taking those resources and putting them into action.
Absolutely. So we've had some community conversations, some additional conversations. I specifically held a conversation with the DeSoto County Secondary School, getting those kids' inputs, because that's, for me, their opinions matter. And in those conversations, they shared a lot. They were very vocal. And I was like, okay. But being in the youth community in that group, somehow I was nominated for co-lead. And so I accepted it, and I was like, okay, we're going to see what happens here. Nevertheless, I'm welcoming the opportunities, welcoming the conversations, looking forward to implementation and making the impact for DeSoto.
You are an inspiration. The change you truly want to see in your county, specifically with your youth, is amazing. Kudos to you. I know it's not easy to take the time. You have a family, one of them being a little kiddo. I mean, you've got a lot going on, and you still make time, and you should be so proud. Before we wrap up today, I do have to ask, since this is Discover DeSoto, what's one thing you'd highlight about DeSoto County? Whether it's a hidden gem, a favorite place to shop, a local dining stop, or a unique outdoor activity, Asha, tell me, what's something everyone should discover when they're in DeSoto?
I would say everyone should discover the YMCA, which is coming very, very soon. January of 2026, we will be there, but we are already active in the community. Currently, we are offering soccer. We're in the current season now, and then there will be another league in the fall. But we're looking for those partnerships to bring in the community and see how we can work together to make DeSoto come to life in an active community.
That is very full circle for me to hear. As you know, being a public innovator, we go in, we have these community conversations, we listen to aspirations, and we hope to have small wins based off of those aspirations. In the first conversation I was ever in 2022, it was with educators, and one of them said, we would like to have a YMCA, but we don't think a YMCA would come to DeSoto. I am now sitting here with you in 2025, and you're telling me a YMCA is coming to DeSoto, and you're already here. You might not have the building, but you're here.
We're here. We got the building. We're working on it.
Okay, great. Well, any photos we can post, whether it's of kids playing soccer or of that building being built, we'll be sure to show it here. And then if someone wanted to sign up and have their child play in the soccer league or anything else you offer, is there a website they can go to?
There is. You can go to ymcaswfl.org, and you can find the DeSoto sports there.
Wonderful. Okay, well, we know that's where we can find the YMCA. Asha, can you tell us where listeners can find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok as Asha Sloan Campbell. That's ASHASLOANCAMPBELL. All across the board. And then I am also on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, and soon to be in our DA for a LinkedIn group.
To be there.
I love it. Asha, thank you so much for what you do in the community, and thank you so much for coming here today to speak with us. Listeners, to find out more, please head over to thepattersonfoundation.org and stay tuned for more Discover DeSoto. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Together, we can create a DeSoto where opportunity, pride, and connection thrive.